All right, well, it's 5 after, so we can get started. I don't want to take up too much of everyone's afternoon. But welcome. I'm Krista Jacob. I'm the Development Associate here at Legacy Land Conservancy. Diana and I are going to just talk with you through a few of the things that we've been up to lately and what we've got upcoming on our plate. We're hoping to keep this an hour or less. We know everybody's really busy. We also are recording this, so if for any reason you need to hop off, we're happy to send it out to you. And we had lots of folks say that they really wanted to hear the update, but they couldn't make the meeting, so we planned on sending it out to folks just so everybody can tag along. I'm going to ask to remind you to try to keep yourself on mute, just so everybody can hear well, and that way you can have whatever snacks you like during the meeting. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat box. We've saved some time at the end to chat through any questions you might have. So feel free to just throw them out there. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Diana.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for this community and donor update. I would like to just say that, as you know, Legacy was founded in 1971. And during that time, we've had a few name changes along the way and a few executive directors too. But I've been honored for the last 3 years to be leading us through a wonderful time, but it did include a pandemic. It did include a great 50th anniversary celebration. And what I wanted to share with you is that not only is the staff, but the board is inspired and ready to take Legacy into the next 50 years. We've built a lot of experience along the way as a land trust and a lot of business acumen. And as an accredited land trust, it's important that you know we're committed to excellence and we abide by the highest levels of land trust management standards. But organizations don't save land, people do. So for the first time in Legacy's history, we have a solid, skilled staff with depth unlike past years or ever before. And we're also adding 3 brand new trustees to our board in June with diverse backgrounds and a real love of our mission, which is going to take our board up to 13 people. And we continue to look for ways that we can increase adding more wonderful board members. As you know, the environment itself and the land in our region is facing many challenges in the upcoming years. And Legacy wants to do its part to actually help take care of some of those challenges. So we're going to share some updates for you that we hope will make you feel really great about your personal investment with Legacy and inspire you to join us as we work through more goals and even some challenges. Next slide, Krista.
Okay.
So a lot of people ask me about the Emerald Arc, and people ask, is Legacy still focused on the Emerald Arc? And my answer is always absolutely yes. So even though we had a wonderful campaign that was 5 years long and helped us raise a little over $7 million and led to us being able to reach some big goals of achieving 10,000 acres of conserved land. And by the end of this fiscal year, we'll actually have over 100 conservation easements. But other things to know is that this area that we call the Emerald Arc is home to over 5 million people. And it's where you can actually drive from one boundary of the arc to the other in under 2 hours. And it contains the important headwaters of 4 of Michigan's major river systems. And many of you know this, but they're the Grand, the Huron, the Raisin, and the Kalamazoo. And also in that area, which is our general focus area where we spend our time working with landowners and working on land issues, it also contains over 400,000 acres of farmland. A lot of that farmland is at risk. Go ahead. There we go, Krista.
Yeah, and we are still adding protected land to the Emerald Arc. Some of these projects can take years to close. Navigating the easement language is important to both the landowners and to Legacy, who agrees to steward that easement forever. And working with partners to complete the due diligence required takes time. And COVID-19 definitely made it take a little bit longer. We'll be closing on the final project in the bundle we've called the Carl's Challenge in the next couple of months. This property contains endangered native wildflowers and a really cool water feature called a fen. Protecting these 78 acres helps ensure that important native habitat will continue to support water quality in the area, as well as pollinators whose habitats continue to dwindle. Several of our donors helped contribute to the campaign, the Carl's Challenge campaign, helping us to secure these important parcels. Working with landowners who have unique ecological features on their property, or with farmers who are often land rich and cash poor, is something Legacy excels at. Many landowners will work with us for years as they consider the pros and cons of placing a conservation easement on their land. Development pressure, family pressure, and lack of succession plans for family property weighs on many landowners, including farmers. We take the time with all landowners who come to us. If we're not the right organization for them, we help them determine who might be and help make those introductions, which leads us to our partnerships. Often the fastest way to close a conservation easement is through leveraging partnerships and federal money. Legacy has helped with 48 projects where partnerships made land protection possible. However, many landowners prefer to work with Legacy as the lead organization because we are the local nonprofit, we're accredited by the Land Trust Alliance, and we're not subject to the millages or taxpayer changing values that could result in land protection programs shutting down or being cut in the future. The nature of our commitment is that we must monitor every conservation easement each year to ensure those conservation values stay in place. With 50 years under our belt, people trust Legacy to still be around long past their own interests to ensure their precious homesteads and farms continue to provide benefit to the community. Legacy cares equally about protecting land in the form of nature preserves as well. With over 320 acres of rustic preserves under our care, we realize the level of stewardship needed to ensure these lands are not only free and open to the public, but cared for in ways that restore native habitats and reduce invasive species.
Yeah, so thank you, Krista. So now I want to take you on a little bit of a journey looking forward. Even though the pandemic did slow down conservation easement activity, and a lot of it kind of came to a halt, many of our partners that we work with also were really busy during that time as the real estate market really took off. So title companies and surveyors were a little taxed, to say the least. But now we're beginning to emerge from both of those roadblocks. And I want to share with you a little bit about what you can count on seeing from us the balance of this calendar year. And what I can tell you is that things are on fire in the land protection world. So we will be closing on 2 additional projects. Or we actually closed on 2 additional projects during the pandemic and during that stress time with another 188 acres, which you can see over there, the land acquisition for 2020 and 2021. And then what we're going to complete in this year is we'll be closing on 3 conservation easements in Washtenaw County, 1 in Jackson County, and we're going to be assuming 11 conservation easements in Linaway County, which I'll talk a little bit more about in our upcoming slides. But this will bring us to well over 10,000 acres conserved. And when I said that the land conservation world, land protection world is taking off, it seems that many people became very reflective during the pandemic. Our acquisition pipeline has 14 projects lined up through 2024. And combined, they total another over 1,000 acres, but will cost an estimated $4 million. But all of that will add to protected lands and also protected habitats for wildlife. So I'm going to go to the next slide for us and talk about Linaway County. So Linaway County was formally added to our service area by our board of directors in 2021. We had a long-standing partnership with an all-volunteer land trust called Raisin Valley Land Trust. And like many small land trusts, they struggled to be able to steward those easements and knew that as an all volunteer group, they were not going to be able to do what they needed to do to protect that land forever. So we are working with them, and we'll be bringing those easements in under our care. But adding Linaway is really important because it expands our effectiveness and our impact in this region. It certainly covers all of the areas that we care about as it relates to that Emerald Arc. And what happens on the land and the watersheds of all three of these counties impacts water quality, wildlife, agriculture. Linaway County actually has the highest amount of farmland still left in this region, recreation, and obviously tourism in our Great Lakes Basin. So we're really happy to be working to bring those easements on under our care. What's an important thing for all of you to know as donors to Legacy, and we hope that this makes you feel great about your investment with us, is that as little as 10 years ago, there were around 1,600 land trusts across the United States. And land trusts became popular and available to exist by some tax law changes and changes that occurred to laws back in the 70s. But today in the US, there are well under 1,300 land trusts left, because what's happening over time is all volunteer land trusts are disappearing, and consolidation is occurring because of the onerous nature of stewarding easements forever. So we're very happy to partner with those all volunteer land trusts around us that are finding that stressor too much for them and are turning to Legacy, the accredited land trust that's been around for 50 years, to assume those easements and to take over stewardship.
Thanks, Diana. Linaway County is really exciting for us.
Yes,
right
it
now.
is. We're happy.
Another bit of exciting stuff for us is strengthening our preserves. Each year, Legacy's stewardship team continues to prioritize improving preserve accessibility while maintaining and, where possible, accelerating momentum for habitat restoration and improvement projects. Staff, seasonal field crews, and volunteers remove invasive species, collect and disperse seeds, trim back vegetation near the trails, post signage, install or repair boardwalk, manage compost piles, and conduct prescribed burns. But in addition to this regular workload, more preserve usage also calls for an increase in trash removal, parking lot upkeep, trail map replenishment, and more. And as you can see from this slide, during the pandemic, visitors doubled from 2020 until 2021 to our preserves. And it's something that we have seen a maintained increase in usage as well. So people not only got out during the pandemic, but they're staying out on the land, which is really great and exciting. For us, in our space, we see that the first barrier to the outdoors is often access. Unkempt trails can be unsafe and uninviting for users, especially those with mobility challenges and families with children. Unclear signage and trail markers can make users feel unwelcome and can be a confusing challenge. We want everyone who visits our preserves, whether they're seasoned birders, a senior looking to spend some time outside, or a college student taking a respite from midterms, to feel welcome, safe, and free to be their authentic selves while experiencing our natural world. So with that, we're doing a ton of upgrades. As the pandemic ends, we're working on upgrading our signs, adding maps and wayfinding signs, and making our spaces more accessible. We're currently in a planning and implementation stage right now. And for those who didn't know, we have 7 total preserves in Washtenaw and Jackson counties. This is a great map that shows you sort of how far apart all of them are, how much work it really is every year for our crews to keep it up. Short-term and long-term planning for turning our updated preserve vision into a reality is currently underway. With it, we also have identified how much money that's going to take. While our long-term plan will cost in the millions of dollars, our short-term and most immediate needs, those signs, trail signs, updated maps, those will cost around $100,000. And thanks to an anonymous donor and their generous $25,000 gift, that work is well underway.
So I'd like to take us through what's next for Legacy. We want to inspire you to join us on this journey. We are doing strategic planning this year, so we'll be working on what the next 5 years look like for Legacy, with a mindset absolutely towards the future. We are definitely strengthening our commitment to justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in all of our work and on our preserves, as Krista explained. And then we're going to build on the work of the Emerald Arc campaign. So we still embrace the Emerald Arc, and we'll be talking more and more about that and what we hope to achieve there. The Board of Trustees of Legacy is definitely committed to assisting myself and the staff as we build long-term financial sustainability for Legacy. We're doing some really wonderful work right now to make plans for the future and to identify what projects we want to do and what those costs will be. I don't know if you know, but approximately 75% of land trusts face operational deficits annually because of the really unique nature of our work. Stewarding land forever is a huge commitment and requires both easement defense reserves and also reserves for our fee lands, our preserves. And all those amazing nature preserves require stewardship over time. While not on this slide, we want you to know that Legacy is recognized for its professional approach to land management, including our ability to annually monitor preserves and conservation easements, and by using GIS technology and more advanced reporting systems. Because of this, we've been asked to perform the same work for organizations that have land protection programs like Washtenaw County and the City of Ann Arbor's Greenbelt program. So we are also doing the same work for the county and the city, and hope to do this for more organizations and municipalities as we grow. And with that, we'll have move to the next slide. We want to just share a little bit with you about how you can help or how you can engage with Legacy as we move into the future. Definitely one thing that you can help with is to support our Preserve Stewardship program, which Krista talked quite a bit about, and help us with that recently seeded gift of $25,000. We're seeking another $75,000 over the next 12 months, which will allow us to do all that wonderful work out at our preserves to make that trip and that experience in our preserves so much better for everyone in the community. You can also consider making a multi-year pledge to help us close on the large list of easements that I talked about, those 14 projects that we have in our acquisition pipeline. A lot of those are in fact farms, and we are doing our best to make sure we can protect all the quality land that comes our way. A simple thing that you can do is like us on social media and share our posts if that's something that you enjoy doing or do. You can also think about introducing me to others interested in land protection or in saving family farms. Certainly, if any of you know people that would be interested in hearing about our story, I would love to talk to them, whether I go out and have coffee with them, visit them at their homes, or work with them through online communication as we try to get out of the pandemic and make sure people feel comfortable. Also, you can introduce Diane to potential people who would potentially join a board or a committee, especially in Jackson and Linaway County, which is where we're expanding the most and where we're still trying to work a lot on our outreach and inclusiveness in our leadership roles. I don't think I'm seeing anymore. So with that, we really took 1/2 hour of your time tonight, but we really COVID has made it difficult for us to get in front of everybody. And we really want to make sure that people are learning and hearing about what we're doing and our goals. And what I also like is for anybody who's on this call, or if you talk with anybody that you know cares a lot about Legacy and its mission, I'm always open for individual coffee or individual phone calls. I love to be able to talk to people, so please share that. And finally, this is our big thank you. Thank you for listening, for advising us, for supporting us over the years, and to helping us protect and preserve all this wonderful land in Southern Michigan.